Hello, I'm Louis Paul, and this is another Colors of Prog, uh, the program on YouTube where I discuss, mention, review progressive rock albums, recordings, live shows from around the world. This is another one of those episodes I didn't know I was actually going to do, but I got the thing, so I was like, okay, I'll do another one, and there might be one more before the end of the year. Who knows? The end of the year being 2021. So right out of the right out of the bag of today's mystery box of music is this one. This is Ballet Rosa di Macchia. BallettiroSadimacchia. So what is this? This was a most sought after album and CD for a long time. Everyone thought it was Italian. You have Italian names for the band members, Italian names for the song credits, and yet something always seemed to be off about this. So what is it actually? Well, lots of research. It was produced in Canada by a German producer, Ulrich Zichtner, but it's still a mystery because um, are they actually Italian musicians or German musicians or Japanese musicians? And it's been dropped that maybe there's some Chinese people. I have no idea. Online prog sites and Italians into my ears detect something is off with the Italian singing and pronunciation. So everything from this actually to be German to Japanese to whatever. Um, Fans of RPI, Rock Progressive Italiano, Italian progressive rock, really been hung up on this album for a while until I guess the jig is up. But it's still a mystery because we don't know who the band members were. It could have been from the mid '70s, could have been from the mid '80s. It's why would you do such a thing anyway? But if you like music from the early Banco albums of the Italian band, there are some tunes that might make you crack a smile. It was like, hey, this sounds pretty good. This sounds like classic Italian prog. But there are several singers, and there's one with the most annoying high range. Reminding me of Alvin and the Chipmunks. Remember that? Christmas time is here again. Yeah, I know. If everyone remembers the cartoon of Alvin and the Chipmunks, and there was a recording, David Seville and Alvin and the Chipmunks, they sped up the audio tape to make it sound like, well, chipmunks don't. Well, if they do sing, we don't know about it, but if they sing in a human voice, it might sound like that. And so it sounded like a sped up audio tape. It's very strange. Either way, it's uh, it's been a prog rock secret for a long time. Like, who are they? What is this? Um, I got this from a fellow prog lover who had an extra copy on the prog review site. This is one of the mini Tachike Records things. It's a mini LP from Japan. So, i.e., it's a bootleg of a bootleg. We have no idea. Anyway, so I mispronounced it out of the gate. It's Ballettiero Sadimacchia. Okay. Um, it does come with with a very small little thingy in English and Italian, but not much. Lato primo, if you're not an Italian band, but you really dig that sound and you want to emulate it, why would you go to such great lengths? Just, be yourselves and come out and say, hey, we're doing this music, we like the sound. Instead, they were promoting themselves as an Italian band, and so we still don't know. I'm sure in time we will find out. It's taken this long to find out this much information. Next, we have Strawbs. Ghosts. Very fine album. This is an original LP. Mint, as you can see. I'm trying to keep all my albums in mint condition. The Strawbs began their musical career in 1964 as a British folk and medieval retrospective band. Dave Cousins joined, and the sound took on a more progressive rock tones for their 1969 debut. I don't know how many people know Rick Wakeman actually joined the Strawbs for Dragonfly and From the Witchwood and another album before he joined Yes. So there's a little tidbit there. There were many lineup changes over the years for the Strawbs, and they occasionally flirted with pop and other styles, and they often rebounded with many good albums. Settlement 2021 is the most recent one. We're still in 2021. Ghost features Dave Cousins, Dave Lambert, with John Hawken, Chaz Kronk, and Rod Coombs. And so this album mixes in British folk, prog chordal structures for some songs, and even the occasional album-oriented rock pop tune. Anybody who's of the age, let's just put it kindly, that heard radio in the 70s, you would have heard a lot of Strawbs songs. And there was a period when they did Deadlines, and a few other albums in the mid to late 70s when the Strawbs suddenly kicked into gear as very popular British tune meisters. But then they reverted back to the sounds which they felt more comfortable with, i.e., they lost their label contact, and so for a while the Strawbs were without a label, and they started releasing material on their own. Anyway, so Ghosts really has a lovely tune, Lemon Pie, which is the popular tune here. It's an enjoyable listen. Some songs are also structured into a mini rock opera kind of format. But I'm befuddled because there doesn't seem to be overlying connecting theme. It's just like some of these tunes here are mini rock operas, and at the same time, overall, it's not connecting to anything. Joe, I mean, for your listening pleasure, if you're not unfamiliar with the Strawbs, it's a good album to listen to, Ghosts. And at the same time, it's not among their best, but it's very good. Hero and Heroine, Ferryman's Curse, there's quite a few to choose from. But always good to pick out Strawbs because I have lots of Strawbs and I don't give them enough love on the show. So there's that. So, yes. So, Tomato was released in 1978 and it has a few detractors, mostly because it seems like an unfocused album. The group then was Anderson, Howe, Wakeman, Squire, and White. aside from the ecological song "Don't Kill the Whales," there's really nothing much to hold on to grasp onto musically. But it's an album. If you revisit, you do find other things to like about, and its acclaim has gone up over periods of time. That being said, um, the album was followed in 1980, so it's about 3 years later, with Drama, which featured Trevor Horn, Steve Howe, Jeff Downs, Squire and White. And Horn and Downs were from Buggles, the band that were very popular briefly for Video Killed the Radio Star, which was the very first video ever shown on MTV. Um, there's a lot of good songs on Drama. There's Into the Lens, Tempest Fugit, White Car, and of course Machine Messiah, which all incarnations of Yes have adopted and adapted into their live shows. I I have no problem with Drama. I actually like Drama. It's interesting. So, but by 1983, Anderson is back, and so is Tony Kaye from the original. So there's two members from the original Yes on keyboards for 90125. There you go. And but for the first time, Steve Howe is missing. Squire and White are on this, and so is Trevor Rabin, who at this time was doing a lot of scores from motion pictures, and he played with Yes live as a backing musician. That's very interesting. Um, Horn co-produced the album with Rabin, and my goodness, if you haven't listened to it in a while, it's tremendous. Like Yes, during Tomato, they kind of didn't do too well selling records. And with Drama, everybody was surprised. And there's not John Anderson, but there's a guy. It sort of sounds like John Anderson, but he was in the Buggles. And though Drama is a really good album today, at that time, I don't think it was really too well accepted. So this comes out, and almost every song is a hit single. Powerful 80s production, Owner of a Lonely Heart, Hold On, It Can Happen, Changes, Leave It. It's like full of great songs. And the production is really big, out there, bombastic. It's pretty damn terrific. And you know what? I really like this album. And um, huge. It was huge. And huge, big seller. So, but oddly enough, it took them a few years to follow it up with 1987's Big Generator. Because the Yes 90125 was touring quite well, quite successfully off this album for years. So it took them a few years to go into the studio with some unfinished material and with some new material, and they came out with Big Generator, which had not every song was a hit, but it had Big Generator, the title track, and Rhythm of Love. Big, huge, monster hit back in the day. And this I got from my friend. I'm gonna name check you, May Young. See if it's, I believe, a DJ at some point. And May had gifted to me a lot of progressive rock material. And so I had no idea they had actually put out mix albums. And so this one has several mixes of this one song, Rhythm of Love, including a dub mix. There's a lot of stuff out there, actually. There's Yes Lee guitar mixes, all kinds of weird tracks out there. And so released in 1987. just on the popularity of Big Generator, and before it, 90125. Next, we're going to go into a lot of people know I'm not the world's largest fan of Rush, but I do like good music. So, Rush, Grace Under Pressure. And look how young these men look here. This is 1984. It's one of the earliest Rush albums. Distant Early Warning is probably, and Red Lenses is probably the songs you will know the most from your radio airplay. And so, what's the deal with Rush? You know, Rush were a Canadian band. I think they were conflicted. You know, they definitely have a lot. There's a lot more keyboards on this album in prog rock chordal modings, and a lot more. I would say it's probably one of Rush's more progressive rock sounding albums. Before they got a little metal, before they became totally unusual sounding, and the mix on this, produced by Rush and Peter Henderson, whoever he may be, is very kind because, you know, Geddy Lee has this very high voice. And, but I mean, well, so did John Anderson, but it's in a different way, a totally different range. And I have to say, this is a good Rush album for fans of progressive rock. You might be interested in that. What you're hearing in the background is Maurizio Guarini, A Goblin's Chamber. And Maurizio is one of the original members of Goblin, who during lockdown recorded his material on keyboards and sent it to someone overseas and sent it to someone else. And so this was recently released on the Back to the Fudder label. And it's like, if you like orchestral version of Goblin music with a chamber orchestra, it's quite nice. You might want to check it out. I believe the chamber orchestra are from Ukraine, and all the mixing was done in Canada. So very interesting. It's quite pleasant. It's for Goblin aficionados. It's probably something you may want to listen to. It's not a must-have, but quite much. So I was planning on doing a best of 2021 program. And as I put this thing together here, I still have some notes and I still have some things kind of whittling down as either what came out in 2021, 2020, 2021, or what did I hear for the first time? And that's quite a lot. So anyway, be well, stay safe, enjoy life, mask up. I don't need to say that. Be well, and I'll see you very soon. Welcome to the Colors of Prog.